Alright guys, so Shadow of the Erdtree is out. A lot of people have been having a lot of fun with it, myself included. I've been streaming it the last few days, at least the end of last week. Had a great time with it so far. There have been some difficulties along the way, some things that I kind of wish they would have done differently, but overall I am not disappointed with my purchase. I'm quite happy with the DLC as it stands on its own, and in conjunction with the base game. So far so good for me. But there are some definitely legitimate complaints that we'll kind of go through in this video here, discussing how some gamers are reacting, because unfortunately the game currently is sitting at a mixed review. 30,000 reviews, sitting right there at mixed. And, you know, we could just kind of focus on a couple of these. I was reading through one that's actually very, very good, very succinct as far as how a lot of people feel. And it's a very long one. We'll try to summarize. Long story short, he's kind of focuses in on the bosses and how fast they can all attack, and how it turns into very much the same thing over and over again, where it's not like a traditional Souls game where you can find ways to mitigate, you know, different types of bosses with different types of damage, and you can kind of learn their attack patterns and, you know, dodge out of the way. This is very much, it seems insurmountable at times because of the fact that so many of the bosses apparently can attack extremely fast. Something I did notice to some extent, but honestly, I mean, I'm a few bosses in and I haven't had too many problems. So he says among the stuttering issues, he said the issue with Shadows of the Erdtree is that every boss needs to be apparently millennia tier. Every boss needs stupid high damage, stupid high health, stupidly small windows of opportunity to damage your enemies. Also, are they all wearing Havel's armor underneath them? Why do none of the bosses stagger? Why is it that when I fight Rolana that I must eat a 7 or 8 attack combo string where only 2 to 3 hits will kill me? That is another thing that I have noticed about the DLC, because you have to pick up the Erdtree fragments apparently to mitigate damage. It's encouraging people to do more of an exploration style gameplay rather than just straight up going after the bosses. I get it, they want to kind of even the playing field for people who are lower level, and people who are higher level it doesn't do much good. That being said, it is a different take. I'm not sure how thrilled I am with that. Why must Bale completely cover the screen on top of everything else? Why does the Ghost Flame Dragon have so much HP? Should I just utilize bleed build since every enemy has such stupid HP values? The Erdtree system is supposed to be a method for new and old players to be in even playing fields, but every corner you turn has an enemy with a giant hammer ready to smash your skull with it. It's not a well-explained system that isn't as rewarding as leveling up normally. The performance as well is day one launch all over again. It's horrible with bad stuttering and FPS drops, especially during boss fights. I will say, honestly, I haven't noticed as much stuttering with the DLC as I did with the base game, but maybe I'm just kind of lucky. I don't know. Now, I'm sure we all recall the fact that Alyssa Mercante over at Kotaku did this article prior to the game releasing her review of Shadow of the Erdtree. And this is important because this kind of ties in with the rest of this video. So Alyssa went on the first 3 paragraphs on this diatribe about how everything in the game aligns with her life that she's going through right now because of this harassment campaign she's facing, and how basically gamers are evil and they're attacking games journalists, and she doesn't know how she has the strength to get through it. But luckily for her, Shadow of the Erdtree is paralleling her life, and it's just going to keep pushing her through harder and harder. Okay, you get through that. At the end of it, she basically talks about how she's not a Souls player, she doesn't really know much about how to, you know, play these games properly, and she has a hell of a time with it, but she's playing through it anyways. Well, fast forward to today, and she is actually crapping on gamers who are complaining about the difficulty of the game, right? So if you go down here to this tweet from 11 hours ago, she goes, "Not you doing days of discourse over my review when I've quietly been beating Rolana, Mesmer, Midra, and more, while you're review bombing the game because you're in your fifis." Again, more gaslighting. This is her not addressing the actual criticisms of the game. And again, I think there needs to be honest and open discourse that just because you love, you know, the base game, Elden Ring, everybody loved it, fantastic game, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be allowed to criticize the DLC. Anything you purchase, you're allowed to offer criticism of. But of course, she's retweeting guys like this, Patrick Dane, who is going back saying, "This is to say, if Alyssa Mercante thinks there is value in relating her experience in Elden Ring's DLC to what's been happening to her for the last few months, that's completely valid and relevant to the readers who that resonates with. If it didn't, it wasn't for you, simple as." And Sean here, sorry, not Sean, Patrick, just so you know, is the gaming editor over at Dexerto. So again, these guys are all looking out for each other. Then you have Alyssa retweeting this guy, Sean, where everyone's just kind of shitting on Asmongold for his opinion, and we'll play about 40 seconds of Asmon here talking about the DLC.
Are you done with the game? I might give it maybe another day. Like, I don't know, but like I think I'm pretty much done. Yeah. Yeah, I am. I think that the DLC is too hard for it to be fun. Like, when every single attack combo like stuns you and then you're locked into an animation and then you get insta killed. I just like I can beat it, and of course I could beat it, but I just don't really want to.
And again, I don't think that he's being given the most charitable interpretation of what he said, because you got this guy Sean saying, if a lady Kotaku writer said this about a FromSoft game, the sad gamer men would lose their shit, lol. They'd talk about it for years. Context. Asmongold is a gamer. He's been a gamer for a long time. Alyssa Mercante is a political activist who has gotten into games journalism as a way to weasel her way into an industry and inject her political ideologies. She has also admitted that she's not a Souls player. So maybe this isn't for Asmon. Maybe this isn't his thing. That doesn't negate the fact that his criticisms of the game are aligned very much with other people, for example, such as George Alexopoulos, famous cartoonist here, where he's basically been comparing the DLC to, Pac-Man, where basically you have to run around the game collecting these power pellets in order to avoid the enemies, one-shotting you. And again, I disagree with him on some things, where here he says a random dog in Elden Ring shouldn't take 20 hits to kill and be able to two-shot a level 150 build. So, I've been playing through the DLC starting at level 173. I got killed by one of these dogs in like 3 hits. I'm not even kidding. Max armor, tons of strength and vigor, endurance, all that good stuff, and 3 hits I was dead. Now, it only took me 1 or 2 hits to kill the dog. So again, I don't think he's being 100% honest when he says 20 hits to kill it. I don't know what the hell weapon you're using at level 150 to kill a dog in 20 hits. But he's not wrong in the fact that the game has gotten to be ridiculous when it comes to the fact that so many of the enemies can attack so quickly. There isn't the same pattern of, abilities, the opportunities to mitigate the amount of damage you take by learning how to time with the bosses, for example, and avoid their attacks. Dark Souls games have always been about learning the bosses, and the people who excel at it have studied and learned the bosses the best. That's just the way it goes. So again, he puts his list out here. He's like, no, not only is Elden Ring not perfect, it's not even the best Souls game, and then he lists Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring. So again, this isn't somebody who has not played these games and just wants to complain about it. Everybody has an opinion on it. Of course, Mudohar saying it's so shocking that Elden Ring's DLC would actually be hard, mind blown. Again, I don't think that's being 100% charitable to what people are actually saying. So you got guys over here like Ted Litchfield at PC Gamer saying Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is peak From Software with everything players complained about in the base game dialed up to 11 in the funniest way possible. Now, the one thing I will give Ted over here at PC Gamer is he's not like some unhinged lunatic who just wants to say, yeah, get good gamers, I'm going to shit on you because I don't agree with your politics. But his article does tend to lean towards the side of, I think this is great, I think it's awesome, gamers just need to toughen up. And in some situations, some aspects, he might be right about that, because I've seen a lot of freakouts about the DLC, and so far, about 5-6 hours in, a couple bosses in, I'm not seeing the things that everyone's complaining about. Ted here has even, the one thing I've seen that was a little questionable is he's saying, like, perhaps the least productive or interesting iteration of Souls difficulty discourse yet, a thing which never truly lived yet will not die, 1 billion negative user reviews from people who forgot to turn their monitors on, annoying distraction from some of From's best work. Again, saying that people who are complaining about it are dumb enough that they don't even realize they've turned their computer monitor on. Like, it's not helpful. This is not good discourse, Ted, okay? I think your articles are all right, but this kind of thing is just going to add, more fuel to the fire. And unfortunately, it just is what it is. He also says, like, the DLC is really good. People aren't acting normal about it. I think people are allowed to criticize things. The fact that people act like if you are a customer, you're not allowed to criticize, that's what Disney gets in trouble for, because they honestly think that, you just must love every product we put out, consume product, and then be ready to buy next product. And that's completely the opposite of the way you should treat your customer base. But I'm going to leave it right there. Are you guys playing the game? Let me know what you think about it down below. Hopefully you'll catch my live stream tomorrow night. We're going to be doing birthday stream on Monday starting 9:30 Pacific. Hope to see you then. I will catch you guys later. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.